Amazing. Okay. Hello everybody and welcome back to the video blog. It is 2017. I haven't been here since 2016. Welcome back. Today, well, first of all, I'm back in Los Angeles. Like, I did the whole study abroad thing, I did the whole living in Europe thing, I did the whole living in my car thing. I have a really big 2016 video coming next week. I'm not kidding when I say that there are a few things this year so far, haha, it's been 2 weeks, that have been more daunting than me putting together this 2016 video because, like, guys, like, she's thick. She's really thick. I am doing kind of a 3-part recap video type thing for you guys. The first part is the video you're gonna see today, which is what it was like living in my car for 6 weeks. So that was the thing I did, and I'm gonna tell you all about it today, all the gruesome details and everything you wanna know. Second part, what it was like living in Europe for 5 months. That's also gonna be a thick video. And the third and final part is the epic, iconic, phenomenal, amazing, miraculous 2016 recap video, which will be coming next week as soon as I get through the 5th hard drive, or the 6th. Anyways, today's video is all about my camper Grace. I made a 3-part, like, nice video series about Alaska, and then the next road trip, and then the last road trip, and this video is gonna be me literally talking to you and telling you the gritty details, not like the pretty little, like, voiceover, like, this is phenomenal, like, whatever. Okay, I wanna tell you, like, what it was actually like living in my car. First of all, I am heavily inspired by people who do the whole van life thing, and I am, like, can seriously consider can see myself doing that, or like the RV life in the future. So I was always inspired by that, and like I mentioned in my video, what came up was like, we were going to Alaska, and I'm like, how are we gonna do this? I don't want to stay in hotels, we can't just like straight up camp, so I'm like, let me buy a camper trailer. What was affordable for me was to buy this pop-up camper. Here she is. I named her Grace. This was the very first trip I ever went on with her in Monument Valley. And kind of the way this video is gonna work is I went through my photo libraries and I pulled up a whole bunch of photos. And they're not like pretty nice photos, they're just like selfies, photos of the camper, just like photos that like documented moments with the camper and like living in the car. And I'm gonna go through those photos and tell the stories, and that's how this video is going to work. So the details, if you want to do this, I'm gonna give you lots of details. First of all, camper cost me $1,500. Bought it on Craigslist. Didn't really know what I was getting in for. Watched some YouTube videos about other people with pop-up campers because I figured that would kind of give me a bit of an education on like what to buy. Luckily, I grew up with a boat and a trailer, so my dad had taught me how to kind of deal with those things, how to like hook up the trailer to the car. I had to go and get a hitch for my actual car and like have it installed at U-Haul. It was like $300 to actually be able to pull, because my car, my little Lexus SUV, did not have a towing hitch on it already. I bought it on a Wednesday, and on Thursday evening we left on our Memorial Day trip. This is the camper when I bought it. That's the dude I bought it from in Hesperia, California, literally the middle of nowhere. So this is it. As you can see, it's quite clean and nice. Think about this now and remember this nice, clean thing compared to what it looked like after I drove it 20,000 miles in 2 months. How the camper worked was you crank it up and pull the beds out, and then you see you have like the beds on either side, and there's a little kitchen or whatever in the middle. Then when you're done, you push the beds in and like lower it down, so there's like no drag, really low profile. But when you lower it down, that means that everything has to be stored underneath the beds. Like, there's only so much storage space to make everything fit and have it come down close. On our Memorial Day trip, there's like an ice box in it, so you put a block of ice on top, then you can put your groceries and whatever and stuff, and then the ice melts, and there's a little hose that goes out underneath it. So it's like a fridge, but there's no electricity, so it's like that kind of fridge. It's amazing, it worked really, really well. And we went and bought groceries, and I had to go inside to put some like perishable items like in it, and I had to crawl in because I didn't want to like lift it up because we were like on the road. And so this is literally a video of me getting pulled out of the trailer. Okay, so that was that. Like, it was a funny moment. I thought it was funny, at least. Whatever. That trip was iconic. We went to Angel's Landing, did that hike in Zion National Park. It was beautiful. Here's a photo. Went to Aspen, went to Monument Valley. It was a really, really good time. What it was like cooking in the camper on the very first night, we did not actually have a campsite, so we ended up driving. We found this website online that had like free camping, and I was like, okay, like amazing. So, because everything was sold out, like every campsite, every RV park, anywhere around Zion was sold out. We drove down this random road and set up the camper in this dirt field for the first time of me camping in it, like out in the wild. It was like such a moment, and this was the meal we made. Here's a little video clip. Okay, first night in the trailer, here we go, making sausages and pasta and peppers and onions on the stove, which actually works. We have the table set. We have the outsides out. And the bed's there. This lighting is horrible. My other cameras are dead. But I just wanted to like let you know that, you know, making it a home. This kind of set the tone for how I wanted it to be. I wanted to be able to have like nice dinners and like do this. When we did the Alaska trip, that became not really a possibility because we were driving for 15 or 16 hours every day and we get in super late. So we'd end up eating out on the road a lot. So we would eat like dinner out. We would normally make PB&Js for lunch. We had a lot of things to consider because this is a soft-sided camper. So by that I mean like smells got through it and it was not bear safe or animal safe. And we were going to areas, Alaska, that had a lot of bears and a lot of threat for that. So all of our food had to stay inside the car, inside like the actual car, inside airtight boxes. So there was like 2 layers of protection and that was the only way we could keep food with us. And because I did a lot of research on safety, because if we kept food in the camper, literally that would be, I mean, bears can smell anything. Bears rip through cars to get into food. Like whenever you go camping in places, if you don't know this, if you go camping in parks that have stuff, there's like bear boxes where you put all your stuff in the box so bears won't break into your car and literally steal and rip your car apart. That first trip I was talking about though, that was in the desert. There was no bears out there. That was not an issue. How Alaska worked and what it was like actually living in the car was we would stay in RV parks. So we'd be able to get up in the morning, take a shower in like normally pretty nice places. So we stayed at like nice-ish RV parks. There's a few sketchy ones, but most of them were like pretty good. I checked the reviews and everything. I was concerned at first, but I quickly realized that it was really doable. Like when you're able to wake up in the morning and I had like a little plastic thing with all my, because anything that has a scent will attract animals. So including like toothpaste, hair products, like all that. So I had a little box, a little airtight box that I had all my stuff in. And you go to the bathroom and you like shower and like get ready. And then by the 3rd day I was like, wait, like this is sustainable. You know, I didn't really know, because you know when you go camping and it's like disgusting, and after 3 or 4 days, you're just kind of like, if you can't bathe, you're just like, you just feel gross. And it's like, it's great, but you're like, you know, you're roughing it. And then it comes to an end and you're like, okay, like I need to clean up. It wasn't like that, and that would not have been sustainable. The fact that we were able to have this kind of like clean up, like refresh every day or every second day or whatever, that made a huge difference in the overall sustainability of the car situation. Another thing that helped a lot was this camper had a shore power cable, which basically means it's like a cable that comes out of it, plugs into the RV park's like little stall thing, and then we have power on the inside. So I could charge my phone at night, I could charge my cameras, and there was a little light inside and a light outside. I didn't realize that until halfway through the Alaska trip because I figured it just didn't work because again, I bought this like old pop-up camper. Some of these pop-up campers go for like $5,000 to $10,000, which I was honestly quite shook by at first. My 12-year-old camper also had power. I was very surprised by that and very happy by that. That made a huge difference in how we could like live and just have it be more like a home when we'd stop at night, instead of like we pitched a tent and we're like trying to make things work. It was like we actually had a place of residence, which was amazing. In terms of the driving, I drove the camper 20,000 miles in 2 months. That is a lot. I did that Memorial Day trip, then I had 2 more weeks of school, and then I took off on like the 6-week road trip, and that was 16,690 miles. So that was a long haul. A lot of that driving was like heavy on the Alaska trip, and on the end, the final trip back down to the parks, we found was like a big thing that would happen is that we'd all drink a lot of coffee to try and, because when you're driving, you can't risk falling asleep. If you're tired and you're like, you have to drive, like you need to stimulate yourself. Like that's not a game anyone wants to play. I ended up drinking a lot of coffee over the summer, which was maybe not the best thing for my body, but I've like since recovered from that, I think. The one thing that could have been improved upon was diet, and what could be heavily improved upon with that is if we had some kind of cooler or something. The ice box that I mentioned earlier was literally good for that first trip only because that's when there was no bears. As soon as you got into bear territory, it was like not a possibility, just because we could not keep. We kept stuff in the car, but we mainly ended up eating PB&Js a lot and like bagels. So a lot of bread products. That was like a thing that we could have avoided. Things like that, just kind of like you revert to like these easy like bread based like items. But what was amazing about it though, let's talk about the good things now. You got to wake up every day, most times in a new place, and you got to experience so much for relatively affordable. We could have made it cheaper by staying in cheaper RV parks. Our RV parks average between $30 and $40 a night. Could have gotten it down to 20, could have done free camping like boondocking, like in public land. That would have been literally free. Again, in the wilderness. The bear thing was a little too much for that. It was this incredible sense of like freedom. Incredible. I get why people do it fundamentally. I mean, I was attracted to it and I have no regrets about doing it. I want to do it again. I just loved being at, like, having, you know, sometimes a rough plan, sometimes not really a plan. I wish there was times that I could have more or less of a plan. It was a really, really great experience. The issues though that we had to deal with on a daily basis were things like with the camper. Like one time the inside flooded with water and mud because I didn't get it tight enough down after driving for 10 hours. And we got in really late at night and there was just like mud and water and no one was happy. It was a really, really rough night and I was like, what have I done? But when you got through like those little issues, and like the tires, like I popped 5 tires in my camper in 5 months because it really only supposed to go 60 miles an hour and sometimes we'd push like 65, 70 and we would run that risk. Some of the tires made it 8,000 miles, some only made it like 2,500 miles. But I mean, it was good, they were like cheap and disposable and you buy them at Walmart or a Canadian Tire and then just like put them on and that is it. You don't like repair the old ones because they just explode when they're done. They don't like leak, not like a car tire. It is like an event when they explode. So you just throw them out. Keeping it clean, trying to keep dirt out. It was definitely not a glamorous lifestyle. It was not glamping and it was not camping. It was like this in between, like in the middle grounds that was like sustainable, but it could have been more sustainable. Some more highlights from it that I think are inspiring enough for me to want to do it again. Being like a photographer and videographer, having like the wealth of different nature and different things that we got to experience on our itineraries, that really was like incredible. Being able to be in such diverse landscapes like most days of the week. The random stories, like life is all about experiences, you know, like, and for this period of time, I had so many stories and I like this lifestyle because it's so enriching with these like ridiculous situations. But the thing about the US being so big is that these little alternate realities and like pockets of things that are so different than like my life in Los Angeles exist everywhere. And being able to go out and experience those things, it is an amazingly like transformative experience and like so much education from just seeing the world, and especially like seeing the US, being in the middle of nowhere in Canada and like pulling over at a gas station, the first one in 100 miles in a town of 5 people, and gas is the equivalent of $7 a gallon, very expensive, like ridiculous, like, but you have to get gas because you have to make it through there, and you know that if you let your tank get below half a tank, you risk running out of gas. It's like all these like new things you have to learn and learn how to deal with in order to like maintain your life on the road. It is like, oh my god, wait, I realized that I haven't even talked about any of the photos in this freaking album. Anyways, you learn a lot of lessons. It's a really powerful thing. Let me hop back and go through these photos really quick because I just got on this huge tangent. I hope this video is like somewhat organized, but like, I hope you guys are like just down to listen to me talk right now because that's kind of what this video is about. This was our first flat tire in Montana and the wheel would not come off. We had to get some random strangers to help us, which was like amazing. It would not come off. It was the first tire we changed and it was stuck. Oh my god, literally miss this so much. The days of like being on the road, I don't know, like this mirror photo, like I don't know, I just love this. It was just like a cute time and because there's so much of my time I'd spent looking out the window and then I'd see myself in the mirror and then like that camera, like here's me in the Alaska squad, me and Ian and Julia with that damn tripod in the middle. This is a perfect example of just how dirty things would get on the dirt roads to Alaska. Like we would get gas and you'd look at the back and he was like, oh my god, my car is like silver. Like, and it's like the whole thing was spray painted with mud. Again, the dirt, and you'd have to like obviously clean off your stuff every time you'd stop because things would just be caked. This is in Denali on top of the car. You can see the mountain in the background a little bit, but I love this photo. I love this whole like series. After the camper leaked and we knew we were going back into the rain in southern Alaska, we were like, okay, we need to deal with this appropriately. So we bought all these tarps and covered the whole thing for the drive. And then another one that was 30 by 50 feet to put over the whole thing while we slept at night. Like the thing was cocooned, and this was like an example of something we'd have to deal with on the road because we were getting wet at night. Like I would wake up to like water literally dripping down from the fringe curtain. This is one night in BC when we got down to Smithers, and this is just like an average like what the whole like assembly looked like when we pull up to a campsite before we'd set it up. This is the camper now this is probably after 10,000 miles. This is probably after 10 or 11,000 miles. As you can see, it's quite beat up. The rock roads in Alaska really took a beating on the camper. Here's an inside view that I never really showed. Here's the table, seating area, and that's one of the beds. This is one of my favorite photos when I rode the camper in Alberta. It was an amazing time. Here's the camper in Missoula, Montana, and this is kind of what our outside rig looked like. We put up a table, had the propane stove right there, and the kettle, and that's where we cooked dinner and stuff. Here's some photos of the camper with the Milky Way in the background that I tried to take, but the firelight was so bright that it made everything orange. And overall, I mean, the whole living in the car thing was a dream. Like, I can't wait to do it again. Like, it was really quite spectacular. Like, I absolutely loved it. But of course there was challenges, and this video was kind of to talk about the good and the bad and kind of give a more like wholesome experience and like chat about like what it was actually like doing that and like living that lifestyle. And I'm like so grateful for that experience. And I think having this kind of old beat up camper and like having to like deal with its issues was such like a growth experience. I learned so much just about how to deal with situations, and I really would not trade it for anything, and I cannot wait to do it again. So with that being said, that is my long video talking all about living in my car for, well, 6 weeks solid, but then really the camper was a 2-month thing, so 8 weeks. I hope you liked it. Go back, I'm gonna link the other 3 videos of like the good videos from the road trip, so you can go and check those out. I love you guys so much. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. I make videos about travel and lifestyle and food all the time, and I will see you guys very, 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 very soon for a new video. Love you so much. Bye.